morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right, so let's get straight into our science lesson today. To start, I'm actually going to show you 3 pictures. And these 3 pictures have one thing in common. Let's take a look. What do you see happening in the first picture, right here? Something's burning, right? Building burning. And I give you a hint for the next one. Spraying pesticides, right. What do you think these have in common?
All pollutants.
Say, what did you say, Phoebe?
All pollutants.
Exactly. Pollutants, right? They all cause some sort of pollution, right? And that's our topic today. Persistent organic pollutants. And POPs for short, all right? So when you hear me say POPs throughout the lesson, I just don't want to say the long name, and you can say POPs as well. Persistent organic pollutants. Have you ever heard of that term before? Anyone? No? It's new to you? All right. So our job today, we're actually going to take a look at it. What are POPs and why are they dangerous? Okay?
Okay.
All right. Take a look at the definition. I'm reading the first slide and I need help for the second slide, okay? So what are POPs? POP stands for persistent organic pollutants. They are harmful chemicals that can easily build up in our bodies, often through the contaminated food we eat and drink, but even through the air we breathe. So when we break down that definition, you see some words standing out here. Harmful chemicals, contaminated food, something we breathe through the air. And usually when you do the topic of pollution, you do land pollution, water pollution, air pollution. And POPs have some very specific characteristics, okay? And that's why I need your help in reading. Let's take a look at the first one. Can somebody help me out here with the reading? Who wants to volunteer? I see Phoebe's hand. Go ahead.
They remain for a very long time, persistent. They do not break down easily in the environment.
Right. So when we're looking at environmental pollution here, and our first word stands out, persistent, long-lasting. I don't know if you've ever heard the name forever chemicals. These are what POPs are because they stay in the environment for a very, very long time. All right. What about the second one, the second characteristic of POPs? Another reader? Yes, go ahead.
They can travel far and wide in processes using soil, water, and air mobile.
Right. So again, land pollution, water pollution, air pollution. It's very mobile. Okay. The next one. Yes, go ahead.
Organic means that they are carbon-based.
Right. If you know about your periodic table, you know that carbon is an element on the periodic table. So that's one thing. All the different types of POPs, they have that element in common. That's why we say they're organic. They're made up of carbon. All right. And finally, when we talk about pollutants, can I get one of the boys to read for me? Go ahead, Eden.
They are environmental toxins that are harmful to both humans and the environment.
Right. Persistent organic pollutants. All right. Any questions so far?
No.
All right, good. Now, as I said, in our lesson, we're going to focus on just 2 main points today. What are persistent organic pollutants? What are POPs? Where do they come from? How do we get exposed to them? And the second question, what impacts do POPs have on our health? All right, because that's the whole point of the lesson. We know that POPs are pollutants, but why should I or you or your family be concerned about it? All right. So we're first going to look at the sources of POPs. Where do they come from? And I'll take a look at my slide here. We have consumer products, things we buy that may contain POPs. It comes from the air and it comes from the food we eat. Now, before I forget, I'd like you to write down some things for me, all right? So that at the end of the lesson, you have something that you can take home to learn about POPs, all right? So I'm gonna give each of you one handout here. Those you have at the back, everybody take one and take a pencil. I'm gonna make you write just a little bit, and we're gonna answer some of the questions on the paper as we go through the lesson, all right? So you see that question here in the second box. what are some sources of POPs? That's what we're doing now. Then afterwards, we're gonna look at the effect. What effects do you POPs have on your health? Take note of that, you POPs. What can you do to reduce your exposure to POPs? And the last question, we're gonna talk about it at the end, okay? Now, take a look at some of the things we have here on screen. Sources of POPs. Maybe it could be in our non-stick items we have at home. You know, when we're cooking, anybody's have ever experienced it, you fry an egg and the egg sticks to the pan, yeah? So we may have non-stick cooking items that prevents things from sticking to the pan. Fire-resistant clothing, stain-resistant carpets, you know, they coat things to prevent it from catching on fire, or they coat things to prevent it from being stained. The foam from furniture, all of these little things have POPs in them. Maybe we could get POPs through the air, through burning, the vehicle exhaust, or even through the contaminated food that we may eat. Now, I'll come to this one in a second, but take a look at the list. What are some ways you may be exposed to POPs? Write down one or two on in your little table for me, please. Ways you think you may have encountered POPs in your life. Ken, I'd like you to share with me after you've written. All right. Let's finish the sentence and let's take a look at, I'd like everybody just to share. Tell me, what are some ways you may have encountered POPs in your life? Let me start with the boys. Yes, Lawson. What did you write down?
The burning of garbage.
Right, that's something we may all experience. Go ahead.
Food packages.
Our packaging, popcorn, the microwavable popcorn, the bags, what they're lined with. Yes?
Non-stick cooking utensils.
I'm sure if we look in our cupboard, all of us have a non-stick cooking item, yes.
Vehicle exhaust.
Yep. Every time you walk through cash trees, traffic, right? You will probably inhale some vehicle exhaust.
The neighbors using disinfectant to like clean.
Okay,
the
all right.
Spray.
Spray the paints.
Fire-resistant clothing.
Okay, yes.
Inhaling smoke, being around smokers.
Yes, yeah.
Cigarettes.
Okay, all right. Somebody wants to add? So you could see that we really can't escape it in a sense, right? And I want to focus on this one because you see things like fish, meat, vegetables, and you're thinking, but how do these things, an egg, how does it contain a pollutant? Now let's think about the soil for a second. If the soil is contaminated with POPs, maybe somebody was spraying some pesticide and the pesticides had POPs, it contaminated the soil, and you decided to grow vegetables in the soil. What do you think would happen?
They will be contaminated with POPs.
Say that again?
The vegetables would be contaminated with POPs.
Right, that's what you're saying? Yeah. So the vegetables, and you eat the vegetables, what happens?
We get POPs.
Yeah, you get it too. It enters your body. And then let's say you ate the vegetables, you got contaminated with POPs. What if you decided, okay, you wanted some fish? The water was contaminated with POPs. Wouldn't the fish get contaminated?
Yes.
Now you eat the fish, you get more POPs into your system. So we could see that POPs can actually pass through the food chain from the plants to the animals and then to the human beings, right? So we could see how dangerous POPs can be to us, all right? Now, what I'd like to do now is focus specifically on a type of POP that affects us here in St. Lucia. I gave you a hint, 2 pictures for the hint.
Plastic pollution.
Burning of garbage.
Burning, plastic pollution, burning, that burning of garbage. Now, tell me if you've ever seen that in your communities. You want to get rid of trash, plastic, whatever it is, and maybe the garbage truck, you forgot the garbage truck was coming on a Monday and you didn't bring the items up. Or it's so much, you didn't want to carry it to the garbage, so you just go in your backyard, there's plenty space, and you decided to burn garbage. Do you see that happening in your communities?
Yes.
Same with me, yeah. And so here in St. Lucia, we really have that problem with open burning, the burning of garbage, okay? And that's actually very dangerous because that is what spreads the POPs into the environment, Okay, now what we're gonna do in your third box, what effects do U-pops have on the environment? That U-pops, that's what we call unintentional pops. We don't go out and we decide that I want to release pops into the environment. But sometimes there are actions, that burning of maybe plastic or electronic items or foam or rubber, that unintentionally releases the pops into the environment. Okay? Now we're gonna find out a little more by watching a video. Okay? It's just a 2-minute video. And in the video, there are gonna be some effects of burning. So if you inhale those toxins, what is gonna happen to you, or what may happen to you? So as many as you can, I want you to fill up that little box, some effects of pops. All right? Okay. Let's go.
Welcome back to Popsville, where Joe's wife Patsy is busy at home making way for their soon-to-be bundle of joy. What's all this noise about? Ah, it's just the neighbors. Looks like they're finally emptying the junk from their yards. A perfect opportunity to clean the baby's room. Finally, that's the last of it. Now to call the truck outside and we're good to go. Uh-oh, the truck's gone and mightn't be back for at least a week. Patsy, maybe that's not such a good idea. And I think Keith would agree too. You see, Patsy, some plastics, rubber, and domestic waste contain toxic pops. When we burn unwanted waste, toxic smoke is produced, which, when inhaled, can make you and your family very ill. The fire can also spread uncontrollably, which can affect your neighbors and put a strain on local fire services. Follow these tips to help reduce the dangerous effects of burning. Composting kitchen scraps and yard clippings is an easy process to reduce waste and is often used as fertilizer. Make sure to reduce your waste output by purchasing recyclable products that can be sorted when time to dispose. And don't forget, contact your local authorities for any items too big for recycling or composting. Contact your local waste management agency or visit stopthepops.com for more details. Sometimes danger lurks where you least expect it. The more you know, the healthier you can grow.
So pop exposure and our health. Why are pops dangerous to our health? What did you catch from the video? Yes, can you?
U-pops can cause skin disorder.
Good answer. Go ahead.
It could make you ill.
Definitely. Yes.
Birth defects for the baby.
Right. Anybody got something different? Yes,
It
Eden?
could cause lung problems.
Lung problems. Right.
And it will also cause cancer.
Cancers. Right.
And
Yes.
put people's life in danger.
Yeah. So we can see the effects of burning these items. Remember, plastics, rubber, foams from the mattresses is very, very dangerous. And we could see from the video that Patsy was pregnant. So it would affect her and the baby as well, definitely. All right. So I wrote down some. You mentioned some already, but I wrote down some others. The effects of pops. Okay. Some, if long-term exposure to pops, you could get cancer, damage your immune system, and you know you need your immune system to keep you healthy. If it's damaged, you get sick very, very quickly. Somebody mentioned lung problems. We had the skin disorders, the birth defects, and in some cases, long-term exposure, it could actually kill you. All right? So definitely something we need to be concerned about in St. Lucia. And we want to reduce the effects of U-pops, that unintentional pops that we release by burning. All right? So our final question, and that, how can you reduce your exposure to pops? What do you think? What's the based on the video, we want to reduce pops in the environment. What do you think we can do? I heard it?
Stop burning stuff.
Yeah, stop burning stuff. That's easier. We want to reduce how much garbage we burn. Anybody has any other ideas? Yes.
Talk to your neighbors on how it will affect them
Good
and
answer.
others.
Right.
Spread
Very
awareness.
Spread awareness, definitely. Good. Yes.
Recycle.
Excellent. Very good. We want to reduce, reuse, recycle, the 3 R's. Very nice answer. Anybody else? That's it? All right. Now I have 6 suggestions for you. All right. And as usual, I need help with the reading. So let's see. Number 1. Yes, go ahead.
Wash your hands to rinse off the trace of chemicals you could have picked up from household dust, toys, playing outside.
We've heard that a lot over the last 2 years. Wash your hands, okay? Because sometimes, depending on the things we touch, because especially you may touch some foam, or you may be playing in an electronic item, especially if they're older TVs, maybe you like tinkering with it, and you could get those chemicals on your hands. So we need to ensure that we wash off our hands very well. Somebody mentioned this already, but let's read it for emphasis. Would you like to read? Go ahead.
Tell your family and neighbors to not burn household waste, garbage.
As you said, spread awareness. That's one of the major things we could do. Number 3, Phoebe.
Avoid the use of non-stick pans and utensils and non-stick food packaging for cookware that are free of PFOA.
All right, so that is a type of pops. So when we're shopping and we want to shop for non-stick items, make sure we see that label, free of PFOA, okay, free of a certain type of pops, okay? All right, so that's for the first 3. Ready for the next slide?
Yes.
All right. Can I get one of the Aidens to read number 4 for me? Okay, go ahead.
Buy your products in authorized retailers and always check the labels and list of ingredients of what you are buying.
Right. If everything is in a different language and you don't know what the product is, we shouldn't get it. Okay? Make sure you know what's in your product. Okay? Make sure they're pops free. Number 5, go ahead.
Do not smoke cigarettes and avoid secondhand cigarette smoking.
Right. And number 6, would you like to read?
Dispose of all batteries, all electronics and electronic waste in an environmentally sound manner. If you don't know how, contact the SLSWME.
What does that stand for?
Solid waste management.
Awesome, Lost got it. That's good. St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority. Alright? Now, in our video, we saw the different items Patsy wanted to get rid of. She had her TV, there was a mattress, I think there was an old refrigerator, a very small one. And normally, if you put these by the road, the garbage truck would most likely leave it there because it's too big. There's usually a certain truck that passes by maybe once a month that carries those items. Now, if you don't know what day it's passing, the best thing to do, you call the St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority and ask them, what day is the truck passing? And they would most likely give you the answer, tell you when it's passing, because it's safer than trying to get rid of these items by burning it or even dumping it somewhere in our backyard. Because again, remember, pops can enter the soil, so we don't want to contaminate the soil either. All right? Okay. Now, out of the 6 that we listed here, I see you're writing good. Just tell me one that you will take away from this lesson that you would like to share with somebody or you would follow. Just tell me one, yes.
Number 4.
Number 4, check the labels. All right, good. Yes?
Contact authorities or spread the word to contact authorities.
Good.
Tell your family and neighbors not to burn household products.
All right.
Also avoid being around smokers if they're family members.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so we see somebody smoking, we don't want to inhale that second-hand smoke, so we want to avoid them. If somebody at home is smoking, we just learned about pops and how dangerous it is, and we had this whole list of health effects. So we could just tell them, you could get pops by smoking, you could get lung cancer, skin problems, so you tell them what it is, and you tell them you don't want them to be around you while they're smoking, because you don't want to inhale the smoke. All right? Any questions so far? No. All right. Now, these 6 things we can do as individuals. Each person can do their part to stop the pops, stop the spread of pops. But even as a nation in St. Lucia, we've taken steps to prevent the spread of pops. Okay? And there's something called the Stockholm Convention. You could read upon it. Where actually the Stockholm Convention, they have the goal of reducing or preventing the spread of pops. So we've actually joined that treaty. I think in 2002 we said, okay, we're gonna work to reduce POPs in St. Lucia. So that's one thing we've done as a nation. And another thing you could do, you mentioned it already, we could spread the word. And that's the whole point of the Stop the POPs campaign, right? Now, today we only talked about UPOPs, that burning, that unintentional release of POPs. But there are so many others. And if you look at the banners, all of them are written in a different color. You have the PCBs, for the non-stick, the PFOS, HBCD. These are just the shortened forms for different types of POPs. There are so many. And you saw from our sources, we could get them from different types of products. So different types of products, different types of POPs. So what I'd like you to do when you get home, go to this website. Easy to remember, stopthepops.com. Okay, stopthepops.com. And you could get more information, and there are different videos that you could watch, and each video deals with a different type of POP. So you could actually read up on it, watch videos, and share it with your friends and family. All right? Any questions for me? Yes, Phoebe?
Is POPs like a microorganism?
No, these are, it's like pollutants. They're chemicals. They're harmful chemicals that could affect us and enter our bodies.
So are they usually man-made?
Yes, well, yeah, because based on the products we find them in, we've done it to ourselves in a sense, because of the way we produce the items, they would contain these chemicals. All right? Okay. Yes, Kanye?
If we do know that some of these items that we're buying produce POPs, why don't we stop them?
And that's the whole point of the Stockholm Convention. So once you've agreed, okay, we want to reduce or prevent the spread of POPs, you as a country, you need to examine, are the things we're importing or the things we're producing, do they contribute to POPs, and how can we phase it out? So once you've joined that treaty, you're saying, okay, we're working to reduce it. And a lot of countries around the world have decided to do that as much as possible to limit the production of items that cause POPs. And one example would be the non-stick. Before, a lot of non-stick items would have released POPs. But now, the material that they're coating the non-stick items with, they're trying to make it in such a way that they don't release POPs when it's exposed to a high temperature. So we're getting there. Okay? All right. Good. Now, one thing I'd like you to do, the last question on the paper, I want to see how much you've learned. It says, do you think it's important to stop the POPs? Why or why not? One sentence. What do you think? Again, I'd like a few brave souls to share with me what you have. Do you think it's important to stop the POPs? Why or why not? Who wants to share? The brave souls. Go ahead.
I said yes because it causes health issues like cancer, death, and birth defects.
Awesome. Anybody else? Go ahead.
I said yes, of course, because the future is us and the ones to come, the children to come, and we'll be exposed to these products, so it's best if we put a stop to it now.
Good. Go ahead.
I said yes because it could be a way to help stop global warming.
Okay, so you want to reduce the effects on the environment. Awesome. Good.
I say yes because it puts my life and other people's life in danger.
Good. Great answers. Good job, everyone. So that's the end of our lesson today. Don't forget, stopthepops.com to get more information. All right? Thank you, everyone.
Welcome.
Good job, guys.